Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance Boxing. We have a special treat for you today. We are sitting down with the one and only Cassius Chaney. Ladies and gentlemen, Cassius Chaney, welcome to the show. Chance, how you doing, buddy?
I'm
Doing
doing
good. I'm
good,
excited to
man.
have a
Thank you.
guest.
Thank you
Awesome,
guys for
awesome.
having me on.
No, thank you for coming on. So you're fighting in 2 days, in 3 days here. That's insane. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for coming on, knowing
yeah,
that,
no problem.
you're so close to it all. Um, you haven't fought in a while, so how did this come about? Like,
It's so much has gone on. I've had a couple cancellations. I was supposed to fight once in November, then I was supposed to fight February 15th. Um, just unpredictable situations that I guess just happens in boxing. One situation, a guy failed his medical at the arena the day
oh
before
no.
at weigh-ins. And the next situation, I'm sorry, the next situation, um, the fighter didn't want to take a drug test, and it wasn't on me. It was just the commission was forcing him to take it because he had popped already. So it would just, but I get a call, well, I get a message that's like, would you be interested in fighting on my card from the Nolan brothers, Matthew Nolan, and I'm like, yeah, of course. I just want to be busy and get back in the groove of things. Um, I was already training, but I felt pretty healed up. So this is just how it's gone, and
Hmm.
this is part of the game for me. I don't really stress it.
Very cool, very cool. So you're 6'6". Basketball definitely had to play a role in your life at some point here as well. The question I ask everybody when we start these interviews is very simple. Did you find boxing or did boxing find you?
I think it was both. I think it was both. I think some of it was like, I think I was like supposed to box. You know, um, the name, the memories of growing up fighting all the time. I always say that I'm just happy that I wasn't put in the boxing gym early, because then I wouldn't have played basketball. I would have just fought, and I wasn't mature enough to understand, like, not to go out and fight, use what I'm being taught in the neighborhood. So I'm happy I didn't grow up like in the boxing gym, but I still grew up playing basketball, fighting, playing basketball. My brothers and other guys in the neighborhood, older
Right.
kids. So it worked out for me. So I would say it was a little bit of both, because when I was in college, I saw, I'm playing basketball at this time, but I saw Lennox Lewis fight a fight of his, and I was like, damn, I could do that. I think I might be supposed to. I might boxing might be what I'm supposed to do. And I'll go to my coach, one of the assistant coaches, and he was like, you know, you have to get in different shape for this. You had to get in a whole different type of shape to box. And I thought to myself, like, all right. And I never thought of it the rest of the season. After the season ended, I'm driving by and I see the boxing gym in London, and I stopped in there and it was a wrap. It was like, all right,
I
that's
was
all she wrote.
just about
Awesome.
to ask you, who were some of your favorite fighters? Oh, you mentioned Lennox Lewis, but who were some of your favorite fighters growing up that inspired you to become a professional boxer?
Well, of course, Muhammad Ali, that was just who I was named after. I was
Yeah,
named after Cassius Clay. So
yeah,
that's who I always like would hear of and just remember. My dad had one picture on his wall. He didn't have a picture of anybody else on the wall besides Ali Frazier. My father was from Philadelphia. My mom was from Baltimore. So that was the only big picture that was on the wall, was, I
cool,
think, the Thriller in Manila, Ali Frazier. And my
nice.
dad used to always say, you're named after him. And of course, I didn't really, I'm still a basketball kid at the time, so
Yeah,
it didn't really mean a lot to me. But I met Joe Frazier as a kid, and when I told him my name, he was just like, "Oh, I do remember him saying, like, your name after that guy." Like, at that time,
yes,
and again, it didn't mean much to me at that time, but as I got older and understood their wars and their history, I
hmm,
Yeah.
understood why he felt that way. But it's just, I don't know. It's just Lennox, Ali, Holyfield, Bernard Hopkins. Boxing has been very good to me. I've met almost every single historic fighter that
That's
might
cool.
be. But the only one I haven't met, honestly, is Mike Tyson. Like that you think about that's like right alive, that's historic. Mike Tyson, that's the only one. Everybody else I've met, literally shook their hand, had a conversation with, and it's cool.
That's
That's
very cool.
amazing. That's amazing. So if I may
Mhm.
just pedal back a little bit here. So you drove by the gym. What made you go inside the gym and where did the boxing career actually start then for you?
And, it was weird. I drove by, I stopped, and I was a little nervous. So I went in and well, I went home, I called first and I asked if I could stop down. Then I went in the gym and it was so many people in there, and I just felt like a little overwhelmed, just like
Mhm.
they, because I was known for basketball in the area. So when I walked in, it was almost like, oh, we know who that is, and why is he coming to the gym? So I said, I'll come back tomorrow. And I'm sure they probably was like, he ain't coming back. He ain't. And I came back and I think I fought in the Golden Gloves. I think, yeah, I started the Golden Gloves maybe like 3 months later. So I might have went in August and I fought in the gloves probably about January or something like that. Um, and that was all she wrote. And I won the Golden Gloves as a novice my first year. So that's what really kept me like, okay, I could do it. And it's been just one of those type of journeys for me.
How old were you when you turned pro?
I was I started at 20, probably like 26,
Okay, it's a
I
little bit
think.
late.
Yeah, when I turned pro, I was 26. I think when I started, I was like 22, 23. I did 3 years as an amateur.
Okay.
If you don't mind
Um,
me asking, how much did you get paid for your first pro fight?
my first pro fight, I think I only got like 1,200 to a thousand to 1,200. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a 4 rounder
Okay.
against Perry Filkins, 4 rounder. I think April 15th, and it only went like 1 round. So you know what? I look back on, I'm like, damn, I only got paid like 1,000, you know what I mean? But I ain't really care. I thought that
Mm,
was, you know what I mean? I'm like, sure, I just made $1,000,
exactly. Yeah.
for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, you know what I mean? So I didn't really mind it.
So in your first professional fight, the four rounder on April the 15th, what did it feel like the first time you took a shot?
I ain't get hit in that fight.
Okay, so what did it feel like when you took that first shot?
Uh, I'll tell you, the first
Not
time I really took
sparring,
it,
yeah, not
yeah, I'll tell
sparring,
you,
like
the first real shot I felt like I really took was against John Bolden.
okay,
That fight, it felt like he pushed me. It didn't even feel like he hit me with anything hard. It was like, okay, all right, you got to show that you can win this fight. Because when he dropped me, it was like the whole night beforehand, I didn't know much about him. I didn't think he was like a puncher or anything like that. But the night before, I'm like, I'm gonna get dropped and I'm gonna have to get up and win. That's all I kept saying to myself. And then it happens, and then you like, oh shoot, you're behind. In a 6 round fight that matters. And I rallied, I rallied to win the fight, and it was like one of them moments for me where I was like, I can get up and win. You know what I mean? Because a lot of guys, they have more experience than me boxing wise, but my composure, I think I have good composure, and I just took my time and I got composed, got up, and I won the fight.
that's amazing.
Your last fight, June 7th, 2024, against Michael Hunter, you lost unanimous decision. Do you want to rematch him? Are you moving on, or what's the story
Nah,
behind?
I would love to rematch him and George Arias. I look back at I think about those moments a little bit, and I'm just like, I chalk it up almost like an amateur fight to me. You
Okay.
know what I mean? I wasn't like hurt or anything like that. Those were moments where, like, as a pro, you need to have certain things. You got to have certain things in order as a pro to understanding when you're going into certain situations.
Yeah.
And I look at it as an amateur, like a experience for me, a learning experience. I only had 27 fights as an amateur, so I'm I was learning on the job. Now I feel a little bit more seasoned. because I went 10 rounds with Michael Hunter. So it
Mm-hmm.
kind of like it feel good. Of course, you want to get in there and win and lead a ring winning, but I went arguably with the one of the guys that nobody want to fight in the division, you know?
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from that fight, just remembering how it went, how I felt going into the fight. And, sometimes it's like that. So if I could get those fights back, definitely. But George Arias, his team keeps saying they would never fight me again. I don't know why. It's just so stupid. I just think like, come on, man. It would make for good, like, come on.
Oh yeah,
But,
absolutely.
I get it. It's whatever.
Fair play, fair play. So here's a question I have. Is it hard to be a heavyweight boxer in North America in terms of getting work, in terms of getting sparring partners and things like that, compared to the the heavyweight scene that's over in Europe and the other parts of the or Europe in general, I guess, and what have you?
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult. But yeah, it's a little bit different because over there in the UK, those guys like boxing is like the second sport over there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna get called. You can call anybody and be like, yeah, you can spar. Over here, you can get the work, but best believe you're gonna have to pay for it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna have to pay for it. Like it just occasionally I get guys that's kind of they got things coming up so we all can help each other.
Sure.
But especially in this area like New England, it's not a hot spot. So it gets cold here. Maybe in Florida, Vegas, California, those places, Houston now, I think.
Sure.
The hot places,
Yep.
that's where most of the heavyweights kind of they're hanging out. You know what I
Right, right.
mean? But
Well, I know you've done some work with Usyk, you've done work with Dubois, you've done work with Fury as well. Um, what are those experiences like?
never with Dubai yet. I was
Oh,
asked
sorry,
to
you
come out
worked
there.
with Usyk to when he
Yeah,
was fighting Dubois.
yeah, yeah. So
There you go.
Usyk
Sorry.
camp was Usyk camp was a learning experience. I've always been like lucky to go to camps and kind of just be a guy that's there to learn. You know
Sure.
what I mean? I could say nobody's ever like tried to take advantage or try to like just go to war in camp. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I would say with experience wise, the Usyk camp was great. Tyson Fury's camp was probably one of the best because then he shifted the division by beating Klitschko, so that was a big deal.
Nice.
But I would say as far as like when it comes down to learning, the best person I probably can honestly say that like is like a real is Ortiz. He Luis Ortiz. He's probably like the best like teacher that you can go into the ring with and learn
Wow.
from.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's easy. It's not even close. Ringendow too, but Ringendow's smaller, so I wasn't really in the ring with him.
Sure,
But
sure.
they do the same stuff like for training purposes. But Ortiz, he would drill with you for hours. For hours. We'd do boxing drills for at least 2 hours and then he'd just go home.
Oh,
Of
wow.
all the big guys you sparred with in all these various camps, which guy hits the hardest in sparring?
Hits the hardest. That's a good question. I know. Trying to think. I would say I haven't really been like cracked and sparring like that. So the person I would probably say is the sneakiest puncher in sparring will probably be Ortiz.
Jeez.
Probably only because he's a counter puncher. So
Okay.
he might catch you with something that you're not alert to. But
Sure.
yeah, I mean you spar with 18s on,
Yeah.
20s on. So that's a tough call to pick a guy that can just crack and spar, you know.
Okay.
Crazy. So you've worked with both those two names we mentioned, Usyk and Fury. We've seen both their fights. Your thoughts on that series, man? Was it what you
Thoughts
expected
on
it?
Fury and Usyk?
Fury and Usyk. Yeah, yeah. Was
The
it what you expected? I mean, having worked with both guys, or where did you see it happening, man?
I thought it was going to be a draw, but I thought a draw the first fight until he got hurt, and then I tried to go change it during mid fight, and I couldn't. But the second fight, I felt like Fury was going to come back and tie it up, just for history purposes. But Usyk, um, his camp, you like one of the best things I saw in his camp, they're for him. It ain't none of that. You're gonna go and do pad work
Yeah.
or go in the gym and do bad work and to be sharp. It ain't none of that. His camp is for him. When they leave the gym, you gotta leave the gym. When they're on their way to the gym, then you can go to the gym. It's super for him. It's none of that, it's super structured, They're not playing any games when it comes to that.
Yeah, they do seem very disciplined. You can tell in the way he fights. I wanted to ask you, what was it like working for Bob Arum, the mystery man, the 90-year-old guy? What was he like in person?
I've only met him one time. I,
Oh,
I was
okay.
with when I fought on his card, I was with main events.
Mhm.
So I fought on his card when Teofimo fought, I think Nikitani,
Okay.
Nakatani, yeah.
somebody. Yeah, yeah, that was yeah, that's when I fought on that card. But Bob Arum was cool, his business. Like,
Hmm.
I just feel like most of the promoters, they're cool. It's just business.
Yeah.
You can't like it's part of the game. A promoter's
Hmm.
gonna be what the promoter is supposed to do. He's supposed to make they're supposed to make money for that company to
Yeah.
keep it running. Obviously, maybe it could be done better, but this is part of the game.
Speaking of promotions, I wanted to ask you about this. What do you think about the new TKO boxing league with Dana White and His Excellency putting that together? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not well, of course, I've read bits and pieces of it.
Hmm.
I'm hoping that I'm hoping that given the pay scale, I think I saw that earlier today, if that's true, that it's not so structured whereas though guys can't make money off their names or like sponsorships. Because if you're gonna lower the pay, then you should allow people to get sponsors, their own sponsors. Like that's something that I do feel like the UFC should allow their fighters to do, and that's make money off their sponsorship because fighters we're pretty much like on our own for the most part,
Sure.
and we're trying to make as much as we can before we have to get out the game. And luckily, you're seeing guys, the guys that take care of themselves, being able to fight longer and be actually efficient at older ages now. So hopefully that changes or that isn't something that is put in the contracts and things like that. But I think it's a cool thing. I don't think it's going to affect guys that really have money already. It's not. I
Yeah.
don't guys that already have made a certain level of money, they're not going to be in the TKO league.
Yeah.
So,
Well, fair.
Fair
yeah.
enough, fair enough. You have a fight coming up here, my man. Tell us about it. What should we expect and where is it?
Uh, I'm just looking to have fun. It's
Hmm.
going to be in Boston, Club Royale, the Nolan Brothers promotions.
Sure.
I'm just looking to have fun. I'm fighting Junior Wright. He's a vet in the game. He's moved up to heavyweight, so he's a smaller guy. But I've had a great camp. I'm fit. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, and just like I said, just having fun.
Yeah.
Just not being uptight, just being loose. You working off my jab, and hopefully I can land, a significant punch. We'll see.
I hope so. How can we watch this fight? Is there any way we can stream this online, or
I
how's
have
it
to be
available to
there.
the fans?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's a stream. I'm sure it is, but I won't know until I get up there tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm just looking to have fun and
You
just
seem
be
excited. I can
relaxed.
see it in your face. You're ready for this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been, maybe it was a good thing that those other fights, were postponed because it's giving me time to heal, to rest up. I coached JV basketball, so it didn't interfere with my training or the season. I was just still allowed to just work and train and work and train. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Saturday.
What's after that? Or you're not looking past Saturday?
I'm not looking past Saturday. I'm not even like, I'm not looking past Saturday. I'm just excited to just, get back out there and just, have a good time, you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, because I'm just thinking now, like, the landscape has changed so much. I mean, I know at one point you were trying to do something with Martin McCauley, and
Yeah, yeah, that was like that's boxing for you. You get flew down to, first of all, you get flew down to Don King's office because that's who I was signed with at the time.
right,
And I'm gonna say it, you hear, yeah, man, you got a fight with Bacoli for $350,000. First thing I start thinking is stuff I can buy and
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah,
now I
yeah,
can get a house. I'm like, now I can get a house with this, and I'm just coming off a win over Trevor Bryant, so I'm not even thinking like an issue. I'm like, dang, confident wise,
right,
I have confidence and just fought and okay, I could just go right back to camp, and I won't have to worry about money. I won't have to worry about trying to work and survive and train. And boom, it's like, oh no, nope, that fight's never happening. And then you go from fighting in November to waiting until June, which was
yeah,
crazy to me. Like so much stuff happens in between that time of where your mindset was that it affects not only you, but it affects your team too. Like
yeah,
your trainer, you telling your trainer that you have this, and then they start switching up because they expecting right. They probably thinking, shoot, I'm about to make $30,000 off. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like this is little stuff like that I feel that boxing sometimes can overlook and forget about.
So speaking of Don King, is it what you see, what you get with that guy? What is this guy like in person? Because he's absolutely hilarious on TV. What's he like?
Don's cool. I
Yeah,
mean, it just goes to show you that, like, I mean, it's boxing. Yeah, boxing will bring you around
yeah,
historic. Like, you're gonna meet the historians of boxing,
hmm,
but Don is one of those people that I say this like he could have been like the the Superman of. I'm gonna be honest. He could have been one of the Supermen of like the African Americans, like for
yeah,
real.
hmm,
But some of the things in history, it shows that it's hard. Like you get to a certain point in boxing, and you making superstars, but some of the people, the regular like fans, they loving the superstar that you're making more than you,
yeah,
right? Because they the ones that they're watching and action wise, and sometimes that's hard to deal with, like. But he's still one of the great pioneers
oh yeah,
of promoting because he promoted the Jackson Five and who
everything.
else? You know what I mean? He done everything, but just some of the stains on his record kind of hurt
Yeah.
some of that stuff.
right. And speaking of the stains, and I asked this question with complete humility. Having him as your promoter, do you feel that maybe that hindered some opportunities for you? Because
Yes
the
and no.
refusal of, like, for example, Bob Arum and him are not on the best of terms, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, so they'll
yeah,
never work together. But do you feel that,
yeah.
some opportunity?
I think it would have. I think it would have. But like for me, like I say, I got lucky in a sense. Like I beat Michael Hunter. Next thing you know, it's a whole nother issue of my contract probably being
Sure,
renewed. I'm probably stuck in a situation where I don't know when I'm fighting. It was going to be a headache, because I was already feeling like that after beating Trevor.
Yeah,
Trevor was that guy. It wasn't me. I was a new man on the block. Just hey, you win, we move you. But what happened was that Trevor got severely hurt in the fight. So now it's like, dang, we gotta just work with him. You know what I mean? We wanted Trevor to, because Trevor had all the money invested in him already.
yeah,
So it was a tricky thing, and you know, um, yeah. So I do feel like it would have hindered some opportunities, but things happen. So me taking a unanimous decision loss to Michael Hunter at that time, it allowed me to kind of be able to move on. So yeah.
yeah. Well, fair enough.
I'll tell you what, brother man, we've kept you long enough here. We need you to rest up. You got a fight coming up in a couple of days. Very quickly before I let you go, though, Chance likes to play a game with our guest. It's called the Name Game. He's going to shout out 5 names to you off the top of your dome. Let us know what you think. Take it away, Chance Michaels.
Vasily Lomachenko.
Hall of Famer.
Evander Holyfield.
Hall of Famer.
Floyd Mayweather.
TBE, the best ever.
Canelo Alvarez.
One of the best ever.
I'm going to throw you a curveball here. Best boxing movie of all time, according to you.
Whew, that's a good one. Best boxing movie of all time. I'm going with. Dang, because I like Creed 3. Best boxing movie. Dang, this is a tough one. All right, I'm gonna go with Rocky 4. I think that's with
Good
Dolph
pick.
Dolph
Lundgren, right?
Lundgren, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Rocky 4, even though Creed 3 is like I enjoy Creed 3.
Creed
That
3
was
is
good.
good too. Yeah, it is.
Fantastic.
That was
All right.
good.
Two more questions I have for you. Number one, how does this fight play out on Saturday night, and what are we going to hear at the end of it?
The fight plays out. Uh, just explosiveness,
Listen,
and you're gonna hear that Cassius Chaney won.
beautiful,
Hope so,
beautiful.
man. We're cheering for you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Cassius, last thing here is something I like to ask you, all the guests that we have on here. What's your message to the world?
my message to the world would be, love all, um, help all, and stay positive. You don't need any negativity in your life. Just try to be as positive as possible. And I know stresses happen, but try not to stress. You stay young.
Absolutely.
Well
Fantastic.
said, man.
Cassius, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
We
you.
really, really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And if possible, we'd love to get you back on after this fight and talk more boxing and find out how the fight went and how it all went down and just break it down with you. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah, no
So
problem.
that'd be amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Bobby Sampson. He's Chance Michaels. Cassius Chaney right below us, fighting this Saturday, March 22nd at the Club Royale in Boston, Massachusetts. If we can get the information from you, that would be amazing. We can post it and show to let people know where they can watch it. And if that's
Okay.
it, everybody, have a great night.